emergency EMS fund. That wouldn't run money from right here, what you reported, right there in black and white. It was starting out at $40,000 and receded to $294,261.59, and it was dispersed out $323,631.16, and it dropped that to $10,000. So that emergency money was put into the EMS fund.
The emergency loan money is now shared by Atlanta.
Yes, the last.
The second one, there was 2 emergency loans to keep this fire territory going. And here's a big issue with what's really the problem. If there's any reason for a debt, that, believe it or not, I'm really shocked by this. And I've got an email right here. In 2011, the budget was $300-some thousand, all that the DLGF would give the fire territory to start. Not enough to operate on. At that same time, when we were sprinting and scraping, didn't even know we keep the doors open after they granted us the territory status. They went out and applied for a grant and got these 3 guys that the grant paid for 2 years, with the projection from her financial advisor that we're going to be able to cover it after the 2 years, knowing we had no money hardly, and DLGF was reluctant to even give us away. We fought, sprinked and scraped. I've been part of this territory ever since it was being established. I was at the meetings whenever we were talking about what we needed to do. We've been down to the county begging them for giving us extensions on the ambulance run money because they told us it was done from the county. And the second emergency loan we had to get the following year, and that was spread out amongst every taxpayer in Jackson Township as part of the territory. The first one wasn't because of the way the law was written. So whenever she's saying that Jackson Township paid for this, it's tax money. And the loans were tax money. The ambulance and the fire truck is tax money, outside the budget, outside their budget, so the township ain't paying for it. Now, Atlanta came on board, we offered our department, our equipment, everything else. We got a fire truck down there that we're paying $14,000. What is it? Robin, what's the payment on the fire truck?
About $14,000 a year.
$14,000 a year, but we kept that payment in Atlanta. The Atlanta people are paying that out of our budget. We didn't ask the territory to pick that expense up. So, you know, whenever I hear all this, what the township done, and that we're mooching off of them, and they're carrying everybody because they are the bigger entity. Well, when the truth is, when this territory started, the township's budgets for actually general fund and the assistance was the smallest budget of all 3 of us to start out with. The only reason they got this tax levy is because we all joined forces, applied through DLGF to get a fire tax levy, and now we've got it, and they found out they can keep it, so now we're out the door and they got a $600,000 budget coming in for fire protection because they'll keep that 0.196. That's what took place here, folks, because they went from about a $200,000 budget to about, with the general fund including, it's going to be $800 to $1 million budget. That's what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think we all kind of came, I mean, I'm glad that we've got the information now, but to move forward, I mean, we've got to take a step to move forward. And so, I mean, what we're hearing is, no, I didn't get the impression that anybody here agrees with the decision from the township to dissolve the territory. If anybody does, let me know. But so if we don't have a say in that, is there something that we can say from here to Jackson Township to discuss what happens from here? Do we only have to go to our board? I mean, we're here for information, and I get that. I know it's an informational meeting, but what do we do from here? Because it sounds like we all have these questions now. There's been a lot of information giving. I think we have a lot of questions to a lot of different numbers that doesn't seem, in my head so far, add up everywhere. So
Well, first
do we
of all,
come to the township meeting?
Let me comment on that. First of all, 99% of the questions that most people had during the session was the Jksn board, Jksn trustee board.
Right.
So what I would recommend you do is find out what their next meeting is, and attend their meetings. You'll have all the board members there to ask questions about what you want to know, and they don't deal with each other. I can't provide those answers, so that's why I diverted it to Chris as the trustee. If you have other questions that's pertinent to the problem, you can direct that to the members of the board. And you have Mr. Schwartz, Mr. Roberts, and Mr. Cook.
So this has been great information, but really the answers that we're needing, we need to be at that meeting, not this. This is
I would just,
I recommend going to the township board meetings, and like I say, they're at 3 o'clock in the evening,
We can
at
move
the
it.
trustee's office, and request documents backing up what you're hearing. Ask for in black and white. I mean, it's here, it's public record, they discuss it in a meeting, it makes everything in,
Well, it sounds like they discussed it.
Can I interrupt something? For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mitch Russell. I'm newly elected to the town board with Maurice and Randy. From our standpoint on this board, with what has happened here, we've already had one executive session to discuss what our alternatives are going to be. We are going to have more of those before July 1st and try to have a plan in place by July 1st. And once that plan is got a hold of to see where we're going, then all of you will be made aware of what that plan's going to be. But right now, I can sit here and I can listen to everybody beat on each other, but what we really need to do is get that plan, figure out how we're going to work on this, figure out how we're going to solve it, figure out who's going to get what money, or what money we're going to get, and what money we can use to have fire services, because nobody in this room is going to be without fire services, even after July 1. So, you're still going to get an ambulance, you're still going to get a fire truck. What we need to do is figure out the contractual part of this, money, and get this fixed. Because none of us want to be here on a Tuesday night, none of us want to be here, we got to work. It's our job to work and make this thing, make it fixed. And that's from Randy's standpoint and Maurice's and mine. It's not Mitch Russell's agenda, it's not Randy's agenda, it's not Maurice's agenda, it's the town of Arcadia's agenda. We represent you guys, so that's where we're working this from. If I'm sitting on this board, that's where I'm working it from.
and I highly recommend that if you live in Arcadia, please attend our meetings. I mean, I know when the water rate goes up, I have a lot of people. You know, but let's try to be proactive. You've got some input, we'd like to hear it, and we'd like to hear your comments too as well.
Can you legally go out of county?
Pardon me?
Can you legally go out of county?
When are the meetings
For
that
contractual
we're talking
services,
about
yes.
that the people should go to, when are they?
I believe the next one is March 16th.
March
But if
16th.
you wanted in the evening on your board, is that right, Jeff? March 16th. And I think it's at 3. If you allow me to get in touch with the board, you can see them.
And where are the
They're
meetings?
currently in the township office.
The township?
And I make a motion that we adjourn.
And we have a motion on here to adjourn, we'll still be here to answer questions after. If you'd like to come up here. I have a comment. Have a second. Okay, meeting adjourned. If you have individual questions.